One of Germany's most baffling unsolved crimes, the Hinterkaifeck murders, took place in 1922 on a secluded farm in Bavaria. 6 victims, including children, were brutally killed with a mattock, and the killer remained at the crime scene for days. Despite extensive investigations, the case was never solved. The victims and the farm. The Gruber family lived in Hinterkaifeck, a remote farmhouse surrounded by dense forests. The household included Andreas Gruber, 63, his wife Cäzilia, 72, their widowed daughter Viktoria Gabriel, 35, and her 2 children, Cäzilia, 7, and Josef, 2. Also present was the family maid, Maria Baumgartner, 44. Strange events before the murders. In the weeks leading up to the murders, eerie incidents occurred. Andreas claimed to hear footsteps in the attic, but searches found nothing. A set of unfamiliar house keys was discovered. Neighbors reported seeing mysterious footprints in the snow leading to the farm, but none leaving. The brutal crime scene. On March 31, 1922, all 6 were lured to the barn one by one and bludgeoned to death with a mattock, a farming tool. The killer then moved the bodies to the barn's hayloft and covered them. Shockingly, evidence suggested the murderer stayed at the farm for days, feeding the cattle, eating food from the kitchen, and possibly sleeping in the house. Possible suspects and theories. Despite multiple suspects, no one was ever convicted. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, Victoria's former lover and the father of her son Josef. He had a financial motive due to inheritance disputes. A disgruntled farmhand. A worker fired shortly before the murders had threatened the family. A passing tramp. Some believe a transient killer committed the crime and vanished. Why the case remains unsolved. The rural location delayed the discovery of the bodies by days. Early forensic techniques were limited. Key evidence was mishandled or lost over time. Legacy of Hinterkaifeck. The farm was demolished, and the case remains a chilling mystery. Books, documentaries, and even a horror film have explored the story. Could the killer have been someone the family knew? Or was it a stranger who disappeared into the night? What do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more unsolved mysteries. The Hinterkaifeck murders. Who killed the Gruber family in their remote farmhouse? One of Germany's most baffling unsolved crimes, the Hinterkaifeck murders, took place in 1922 on a secluded farm in Bavaria. 6 victims, including children, were brutally killed with a mattock, and the killer remained at the crime scene for days. Despite extensive investigations, the case was never solved. The victims and the farm. The Gruber family lived in Hinterkaifeck, a remote farmhouse surrounded by dense forests about 70 kilometers north of Munich. The isolation of the farm made it an unlikely target for such a violent crime. The household included Andreas Gruber, 63, the patriarch, known to be strict and frugal; Cäzilia Gruber, 72, his wife, who suffered from poor health; Viktoria Gabriel, 35, their widowed daughter, who had returned to the farm after her husband's death in World War I; Cäzilia, 7, and Josef, 2, Victoria's children. Josef was rumored to be the illegitimate son of Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a local man with ties to the family. Maria Baumgartner, 44, the family's newly hired maid, who had only started working days before the murders. Strange events before the murders. In the weeks leading up to the murders, eerie incidents occurred, suggesting the killer may have been watching the family. Unexplained noises. Andreas reported hearing footsteps in the attic, but searches found no intruder. Mysterious keys. A set of unfamiliar house keys was discovered, raising suspicions that someone had access to the home. Footprints in the snow. Neighbors reported seeing tracks leading to the farmhouse, but none leaving, hinting that someone had entered and stayed. Missing newspaper. A local paper went missing shortly before the murders, possibly taken by someone hiding on the property. The brutal crime scene. On March 31, 1922, the killer struck. Each victim was lured to the barn one by one and bludgeoned to death with a mattock, a farming tool similar to a pickaxe. The sheer force of the attack suggested extreme rage or a personal vendetta. After the murders, the killer moved the bodies. All 6 victims were placed in the barn's hayloft and covered with hay as if to delay discovery. Stayed at the farm. Evidence indicated the murderer remained for days, feeding the livestock, eating food from the kitchen, and possibly even sleeping in the house. Left few clues. Despite the prolonged presence, the killer left behind little forensic evidence, suggesting familiarity with the property. Possible suspects and theories. Numerous suspects were investigated, but no definitive proof was found. 1. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, Victoria's former lover and the alleged father of her son, Josef. He had a financial motive. If Victoria and her children died, he could inherit the farm. Witnesses claimed he acted strangely after the murders, but no direct evidence linked him. Number 2. A disgruntled farmhand. A worker had been fired shortly before the murders and reportedly threatened the family. He had knowledge of the farm's layout and routine. 3. A passing tramp or soldier. Post-WWI Germany had many displaced veterans and drifters. Some theorize a transient killer committed the crime and vanished into the countryside. 4. Supernatural theories. Due to the eerie pre-murder events, some locals believed the farm was cursed. Others speculated about a deranged hermit living in the nearby woods. Failed investigations and lost evidence. Despite multiple interrogations and searches, the case went cold due to delayed discovery. The bodies were found days later when neighbors noticed no activity at the farm. Primitive forensics. In 1922, fingerprinting and blood analysis were in early stages. Mishandled evidence. Key items, like the murder weapon, were lost or contaminated. Legacy of Hinterkaifeck. The farm was demolished in 1923, and a chapel now stands in its place. The case remains a haunting mystery, inspiring. Books and documentaries. Numerous works explore the crime, including the Hinterkaifeck Murders by Alan R. Warren. Pop culture references. The 2016 horror film Hinterkaifeck fictionalized the events. Ongoing speculation. Amateur sleuths still debate the killer's identity, with some even suggesting a family member was involved. Final thoughts. The Hinterkaifeck murders are a chilling reminder of how isolation and unresolved grudges can lead to tragedy. Was the killer someone the family trusted, or a stranger who disappeared without a trace? What's your theory? Let us know in the comments. And if you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest enigmas.